is one of the things that we most look forward to. So this year, we want to talk about building agents that actually work for procurement. Like, let's make it real. And I challenged Matthias, like, dude, like, we got to do a live demo. How do people believe it's real if you don't actually show it in, live? And every year, Sudhir and I do one thing where we try to come up with the one word, the one essence of what we want to communicate, what we want to, our ambition for the function of procurement. And this year, that word is speed. Okay? It's not just speed to deploy, speed to adopt. You guys all know the rules on that. But really, it is now. It's time to put your accelerator down and just go. Let's talk about how we're going to do that. So when we look at the age, so that you should unpack what has happened in the age of AI.
So as we know, firstly, I'm Sudhir Bhojwani. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Oro Labs. We remember ChatGPT came into our life in November 2022. Not that long ago. But the research started a little bit before that. There was a breakthrough research in 2017 by Google. Then OpenAI was born. Then we saw what happened when we went from GPT 3.5 to 4.0. The results were astonishing. We saw the birth of reasoning models, whether it's DeepSeek, whether it's Owen, and others. Of course, all of us are also worried about the T-Rex sitting out there that's going to eat all our jobs, called the AGI. I think we're a little further away from that. Some people believe we are closer to it than I do. I think it's a little bit further away. But what cannot be denied is the pace, the speed at which AI has moved. We've gone from the days, natural language processing, NLP, as we used to call it once upon a time. We don't even use that word anymore. But we've gone from that to autonomous reasoning. But where we see the world is going is really the next big frontier is how humans and AI agents work together. So in this presentation, we will showcase how orchestration can play a massive role and how humans and agents will actually work together.
So when you think about a business process is nothing but a group of human beings who have an input, they work together, they get help from each other. If they need to escalate, they escalate, and then they produce an output. Guess what? With AI agents, it's pretty much the same, except that some of the jobs could be done by agents. And just like humans, agents can also ask help from other agents, but also from humans. They can also escalate to other humans, and they can also tell humans what to do. Okay? So that's nothing different in terms of orchestration, in terms of what the business process is, whether AI is there or agents are there.
I must crack one joke. I tell Lalitha, slow down. But she is 1,000 miles per hour. She gets excited by you guys and the AI. So I must call that out. But I do want to talk a little bit about where we are headed with this agentic world. Agents in this world can do a lot more. They can call other agents. They can call human beings. They can actually integrate with external data, with internal data. And most interestingly, they can learn from their own behavior. It's called the feedback loop. They can learn and hopefully improvise, just like humans do. So I believe in the world of agentic, and we all have heard of MCP, believe MCP is here. Agents having full control is here. T-Rex is still for. Don't worry about the T-Rex. That doesn't turn into a T-Rex, to be very clear.
So there are a ton of use cases, obviously, in procurement, but there are some really core common characteristics and some interesting use cases. These are some of the common use cases that we have heard from customers. But guess what? If you really think about use cases, not in terms of, oh, I have an S2P landscape, where can I plug in agents? Maybe that's not the right framework. Think about the entirety of the function of procurement. There's a lot of work that happens, which is procurement work, which is operations work, but which is actually not being done by software today. These are people with Excel spreadsheets and having meetings and making phone calls or filling out checklists. And this is where the opportunity lies for where you need to start with agentic. Whether it is in your sourcing processes, whether it's in your purchasing processes, or definitely in the risk and due diligence process. There's a lot of work that can be done by agents.
or in accounts payable, when you're processing millions of invoices. But you know what we should do? We have talked enough. Let's bring on stage a very special guest who've been working with Nitin.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nitin Kapoor. I run the Procurement Center of Excellence at GSK. And I'm particularly excited to be on stage with these two amazing people that we get to partner with, but also tell you a little bit about what we've been doing. So I work for GSK, and GSK's mission is something that's very close to my heart. It's bringing talent, science, and technology together to get ahead of disease. And I think that's something that inspires a lot of us that work in this industry sector and me working at GSK. So how do we take this transformational time into procurement? So we've been working very hard to figure out what we should do to totally reimagine how procurement works. And we embarked on a digital transformation journey. And at the heart of that is reimagine and relook at all the different problems our business faces and how we can solve them to really serve our patients better.
So we've been hearing a ton of frameworks about how to think about AI and agentic, where should I apply it? And honestly, I was so inspired by your 3 E's and a C, which is a framework I think is super practical, super easy to distinct and really think. Can you unpack that for us?
Absolutely. So 3 E's and a C. Look, we started with, before Agentic AI was the buzz thing, and I know this conference, everybody's probably had an overdose of Agentic AI, we started with experience for humans. So we have a lot of people, 25,000 plus in the organization that interact with procurement. How do we make that experience from them a really good one? And we stumbled upon you guys, and we were really interested in enhancing that experience and making sure that we measure it so that we can get better. And that's tough, I can tell you. You can go and ask.
It's fuzzy, it's pretty, but what does it really mean?
It's really making sure that the experience that they have in the entire process from start to finish is something that we measure and we keep getting better at. So at GSK, we've looked at things like UX scores for usability. We've looked at net promoter scores, the NPS scores, and we've settled at CSAT. That's the way that we measure this. And we're constantly looking for that continuous feedback loop to make that experience better.
How about compliance, your favorite topic, yeah? All our favorite topic, I must say.
So the way we think about compliance in our framework is that it should be seamless. It's extremely important for us because at the heart of what we do, there's a patient at the end who's expecting a vaccine or a medicine, and we can never compromise on ever doing the right thing. So that's the core of how we operate, but we want it to be seamless. So we want to make compliance just the way you do business. And what we've learned is that we can do a little bit of that with you guys.
So efficiency was something that was, where we're seeing a huge bunch of opportunity.
So efficiency was the second of our 3 E's, in case you're not tracking, in this very complex framework. But it's all about making the entire process end-to-end streamline, faster, better, and where possible, automate things, right? So as you heard from Sudhir and Lalita, that this is a time that we can absolutely see the technology able to reason. That allows us to really reimagine how we go after efficiency and what work we have repeatable, or in many cases with simple reasoning. If we can automate that, we don't need people. Our people doing those things, they can do much better things.
And then finally, effectiveness, a thing your procurement heart truly loves.
Well, I'm a procurement guy through and through, bleed procurement, and so we've got to save some money as well, right? So not the only thing, we also create value. We improve the way that our suppliers deliver good things. But this one is an amazing area that we want to unlock. And we think the slide that you shared really resonates with us. The people and the agentic interaction will help us unlock value. So Sudhir, how are we going to do that?
Let's log in. Thankfully, I'm already logged in and not timed out.
All right, good. This is GSK's I Need platform that you're getting to see over here. That's how we've branded Oro. We like to brand everything internally, so that's GSK I Need to buy is our branding for Oro.
So I'm a user. I have a proposal from a supplier. I can simply upload a proposal in Oro. Let's assume this is my proposal. Nitin, how often do users come with proposal?
Well, look, the reality we all know, there's procurement people who buy all the big stuff, and they focus on that and save tons of money. And then we have transactions that are happening below the threshold, which is defined differently, and actually in the millions of pounds of spend that we just do not have the manpower to focus on. So that happens very often, and they'll come with a proposal, and honestly, they just want to get on with it.
Cool. So in this example, I upload a proposal. System understands what the proposal is. It takes care of Nitin's favorite category. It finds the category which Nitin really, really cares for. It extracts the line items, finds the supplier that matches the need. Oh, yeah, we have every single customer who has tens and thousands of suppliers. Matching suppliers is a real fun activity. And based on this, it says, hey, you have a proposal from a supplier. Amount of spend is low in a category where the category manager has decided you can do self-service. Why not go ahead and do the self-service on this request? Very simple. What has happened so far? I upload a proposal. Based on that, system it has used a bunch of AI and telling me you can move forward. All right, I'll move forward.
All right, now kicks in the opportunity agent. This is the bit that I really like. Now, category managers can embed some logic into how they want to assess for the opportunity, and off it goes. The technology is now trying to figure out, in that proposal, is there any value to be had? Have we got the right payment terms? Is there enough money to be saved?
So what we have done under the hood, we have run an AI agent that looks at the proposal, looks at the historic data. That means it is integrated with GSK's purchase order historic data. It looks at the market data, which is available openly in the market, and various other things. Based on that, it finds out, hey, good news. There is some opportunity for sourcing here. It still gives user a choice. We can help you get a better quote. Do you have 24 to 48 hours? I would say yes to that, Nitin.
Yes,
Here's
please.
the beautiful thing, right, Nitin? Because the thing you really loved here was that you could be sleeping, and this is still happening.
Correct. Absolutely right. Isn't that amazing? We can count the money.
And yes, you still get credit for it. So, GSK go ahead.
What happens next, which I got really excited about because, deep down I'm also a little bit of a geek. There's an agent that's kind of identified some opportunity, and because our orchestration layer that we're deploying with the fine folks here with Oro, it allows us to actually trigger a sourcing agent. Now we've kind of figured out over here that we can actually run a sourcing event for this particular requirement, and we hand off to our current sourcing partner, who are actually in the audience, Fair Market, big shout out to you guys, and we trigger an agent there. So now an agent is calling another agent to go and source this requirement for us.
I think, Nitin, what would be great is how clearly this happens quite often. I mean, the point you made around big transactions, a $10 million deal.
Listen, for the big stuff, we've got a lot of very smart, very well-trained, super smart procurement people who are really at it. Yeah, for a lot of the small things, we don't have time. We can't invest all our resource in chasing the 86,000 pound quote that we got. That's just not possible. So the ROI that I can't make, I want the agents to be able to make, so I can actually save some money.
Yeah, under the hood, this agent has actually created a sourcing event in their platform, Fair Market, and it will do its job. And the time is still 1 to 3 days, which is wonderful. Should we look at one more demo quickly?
I think so.
All right.
Sudhir, how about this? Services are fine, but if I have a preferred item, it is the only item that I can implement in the plant, and I already have a source of supply. Like, is there really any agent? What the heck is agent going to do?
To save time, I've already loaded a proposal to buy some Cisco routers. Let's see what it does this time. Let's see what AI does. Nitin is still sleeping.
The opportunity agent is working, huh? That's good.
It takes 5 seconds, sometimes 10 seconds. Let's call AI.
Yeah.
In this example, very different. What AI agent has done, in this case, opportunity agent, it has figured out you're trying to buy an item which is single source. You will not be able to replace a Cisco router with some other router that easily. It's a single source. You're buying it from a value-added reseller. So you say, OK, but I can still find opportunities, a lead time opportunity, saving opportunity. In this case, it finds both. And I can continue. In this case,
well, now we can actually hand off from this agent to a negotiation agent that can actually go and drive a negotiation where I'm not running a RFP process. And again, try and help unlock a little bit of value.
Cool. So this was a little demo that we wanted to show it to you. How about Nitin, maybe a little bit more about how you guys are overall thinking about AI?
Yeah, so AI is really changing how we've thought about procurement. And I think there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. But more fundamentally, all our business processes have been designed for humans to take part in the different steps. And what we've got to try and do as procurement professionals is totally reimagine that workflow. And the pillars that we've used in our digital transformation start with our data layer. So how we fix the foundations of our data is really important because whatever we're doing sits on top of that data layer. And we've got some very smart people working on that. How we transform third-party risk management and make sure that that works seamlessly, because honestly, users don't really care. They want to make sure that they're compliant, and we need to make that easy. How we source autonomously and make that an easier part of people's jobs. And you saw a little bit of a demo for below threshold activities that we're looking for, and we want to do more of that in different thresholds with some of our partners here. And obligation management is unlocking value that exists in our contracts that we have not yet been able to take. And I want to make that very digital and very smart. And that really helps me create my business case for the transformational work that we're trying to do. And contracting, along with our legal partners, how do we make this a seamless experience across the entire source-to-contract process with Aura as the orchestration layer and the fundamental data foundation sitting below. That's at the heart of it. And we're very excited on this journey. As you can see, we've done some cool stuff. And I'm so looking forward to many, many more things we do. One thing, if I may, it is our time in procurement. Because you see all this technology that we're using ourselves. Imagine all the services and the industries that we buy from. They're all getting disrupted. It is also our time to go and extract that value.
Thank you so much, Nitin. Thanks for coming on the stage and sharing this.
Clearly, so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Clearly, so much fun to be had before the T-Rex time arrives, AGI.
So how should we think about this? How can we go fast? How can we scale? What is the expectation of your organization from an AI platform that will allow you to scale? I believe it must embed in your process. It cannot be another island that you have to visit. It must be embedded. It must have data pipes to your systems. That's the example we saw, looking at the purchase order data, looking at the contracts. That should be there. Governance is important. AI agent cannot go rogue. You will have some people to respond to. You have to explain to a CEO or a CFO or a COO what happened. And I believe it needs to be auditable when your SOX guys come. You did what you're supposed to do. It's non-negotiable. Last but not the least, we come from a camp, we believe humans and AI can work together. That is the best way of making it work. This T-Rex, let's put it in the future. We'll get to it when we get to it.
At the end of the day, you have to be able to trust your AI just like how you trust your human colleagues, your human coworkers. And that's very important. And one other thing I wanted to say is that when you think about let's put AI to work, experiment, don't stop experimenting, but also test. When you test, you realize that there's a lot of fine-tuning you're going to do because the right out front, your agentic AI is not going to work as you expected. A lot of fine-tuning happens when it is actually live. And then you have the process that is governed for how you trust. And so let's humanize the procurement experience and let's put AI to work.